Hi, Gary Germer here. I'm at my gallery here in Portland, and we just got in an estate that's been in storage for about 10 years. This lady's mother had been an antique dealer back in the day, and all this has just been stored, and the family's now finally getting around, they want to deal with it. So they brought it all here, and I haven't had a chance even to go through it. We numbered the different boxes, and I thought maybe you'd get a kick out of seeing us open the box. One of the things that got me interested in this collection and be willing to do it is some of the artwork here. The Who Killed Kennedy, the guys behind me here, and there's a couple others by this guy named William Kent. And he was a big, made a lot of prints back in the 1960s and 70s that were used a lot in the protest movements, and are highly collectible now. So this is like $1,000. I know this one here behind me is about $700. And so I thought, if that's the sort of caliber stuff she brought, I want to see what she had. So if you'd like to work with me, I'm going to crack these open and see what we got. Box number 38, we're not obviously doing them in order here, is a bunch of paperweights. Now, when you're looking at the paperweights, what we're wanting to find, ideally, is something that's signed by the artists or old ones. Now, this is a modern one. And this is an old Millefiori one, but it's not signed, but it is an old one and a well-made one. This one here is like a bunch of cannonballs. From the Gettysburg Memorial. What better way to remember the fallen dead than a big giant stack of cannonballs? Oh, this is a beautiful one. You can see that, all the colors in that one, and this is also an older one. So those are going to be worth anywhere from $100 to $300. I'll have to do a little bit of homework. Got this one here, which is pretty. It's older, but I think it's Chinese. And we got something here that's brand new. Well, it's at least 10 years old, because we know it's been in storage for that long. But it's a pretty piece of glass, so that'll sell for 20 bucks. And again, you got your Chinese, $10 Chinese ones. So she had kind of a mix of the good, the bad, and the ugly in here. This is an old one. One of the things you can look at is that it's concave here, and then you also want to look at the wear around where it's been polished off. And that's a hand-blown, multicolored one. And when we're done, we'll do get you a big close-up. Whereas this one also is more of a mold-made one. Just really good eye, pretty things. So this is Chinese. It's big and it's colorful, but it's not a real valuable one that we're looking for. Here's one that's different than the rest. I always think of these Millefiori ones when I'm looking at them. Again, concave polish and polished around the edge, and it's showing wear. Another thing you can kind of look for, and it's indicative of glass being old. Doesn't mean it's valuable necessarily, but if it has what they call shelf wear, where you end up pulling something, off of a shelf and you slide it and it wears down. This is what would be a Chinese, but it's a neat crane. This is probably 1930s of a hand-painted crane in that one. And again, a little bit more modern one. So that's what we've got. Whoops. Almost lost one here. Maybe the best one. What's fun about these faceted ones is that you look directly in and you can see the pattern, but each facet makes you look at the base, the canes of glass. Because what they do is they put canes of glass together, cut it, and then it's put into the other glass. And this has a certain amount of age to it, so those are all fun. Those will be fun to research a little bit more, but I'm not seeing any $1,000 ones. I'm seeing some $100 ones, and I'm seeing some $300 ones, and I'm seeing some $10 ones. Okay, box number 36 is marked Asian, so I'm not quite sure. Sounds rather cryptic. We'll see what, make sure everything's marked on 36, is in here. And we have a cinnabar Buddha. Now, cinnabar is, for those who wouldn't know, is a type of lacquer, and they would make something either out of metal, even clay, or sometimes wood, and they would put layers of lacquer on top, and they would end up then carving it back. This probably would have been molded and then lacquered and then the details carved in back. But that's kind of fun. A lot of interest in Eastern religion. And then we have a very, very obviously Asian horse. I'm not quite sure why he's here. He's in genuine plastique. So you know, it's a good one. Here's a little Cinnabar snuff bottle. And contrary to popular belief, snuff bottles were not for drugs. They were for ground tobacco, much like the British in the old times when they would sniff the ground tobacco. That's what that was for, because for 200 years it was illegal to smoke in China. And so they used the snuff or you know, the in little bottles there, and they would actually not snort it, they would put it under their tongue. And obviously, the fun little fact, the punishment for smoking at that time was death. So one way or another, tobacco was going to get you. We got a wonderful Japanese cloisonne little vase. This is a beautiful piece. The Japanese perfected the cloisonne as far as I'm concerned. And they had very simple designs, very elegant shapes, and were much less busy than the Chinese counterparts. And it's much more valuable. That's a beautiful, probably $200 vase right there. So that's fun. We should go from a plastic course to a wonderful vase. Now we have a, what they call an akimono. It's a carving of a woodcutter here. And that's all in ivory. Signed by the artist underneath. I'd have to research the artist. But he has a lot of good detail. His face is very kind, and the proportions are done well. There's more markings on the back to look at, so help me do some research on it. That's the good news. The bad news is, I mentioned it's ivory, and ivory is a pain in the glutes to work with because of the ivory bands. So even if you get it to where it's legal to sell, which is say antique and old ivory, there's no place to sell it. eBay, Etsy, any of the online platforms, none of them will let you sell ivory. None of the major auction houses want to touch it either. So even though it might be legal, they don't want to deal with it because they don't want to get into the middle of any controversy. So it's something you have to sell on site because I can take some time and prove that it's old enough and legal for me to sell. It's going to take a little bit of homework to do. Got a little soapstone Buddha. He's not really well carved. He's kind of cute. Soapstone, as opposed to jade, was much softer, easier to carve, so you'll find a lot of fun. Soapstone actually isn't worth all that much. I'm beginning to see a theme here. Got a porcelain Buddha this time, and then I have one that's a terracotta one that's marked in some sort of kanji. I don't know what it says, obviously. Kanji writing on the bottom and marks. But he's a terracotta one, and he seems to be kind of an unhappy Buddha. Anytime you find Buddhas, they tend to do really well for us. And they're decorative, and they bring luck and joy to a home. This says scrolls. I like how they packaged everything so well that can't get open. I'm like one of those people that on the holiday when you're unwrapping your gift, I want to, for some reason, want to try to save the paper instead of just tearing it. I don't know why I'm just tearing it, but anyway. Okay, we've got a scroll, and I need some Chinese friends to help me read what this says. We'll see if we can figure out who wrote them. Fun and interesting. The interesting thing about scrolls is that the paper part here, the white, is the painting, and then the brocade around is like what would be in the Western world a frame. And it's surprising how much stock and how much value they put into good calligraphy there. And so this one bears calling one of my friends in, who's more of an expert on this than I am, on the Chinese arts like that. But they're pretty nice. Here's part of a book. I bet you'll find the rest of the book in another box. Oh, here you go. Little bottle. Cute, not valuable. and a bronze vase. Copy of an ancient style. So those are what you got. This is kind of turning out to be the good, the bad, and the ugly. You've got this, I just love these ivory carvings. It makes me sad I can't, it's such a difficult issue to try to sell them, because ivory is really a good medium to work with. Although, you know, I'm very much into saving the elephants. And from what I've been reading, the bans are actually working and the elephant herds are coming back. The Japanese cloisonne, that's your next best piece here. And then the Buddhas are fun. They range from really good to just kind of fun. So, still no treasure of the Sierra Madre, but a fun pile of stuff. All right, box 94, and it says Nixon Roosevelt Patriotic Ephemera. See these in here, and it doesn't mean anything. This can be fun because, especially this time of year when we're facing an election, people are kind of all about politics right now. So, Russian dolls, we have Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky. Oh, this is getting fun already. Whoops. Oh, who's the lady that was Monica's friend? I forget her name, that other attorney. And Hillary. And a cigar. I'm not quite sure what that whole story is about. No, I'm kidding. Isn't that fun? They make Russian dolls about just about anything. Very collectible. Rebuilding Virginia Together, Oliver North, a cassette deck. Who wouldn't want to listen to that? Presidential Speak, the Very Curious Language of George W. Bush. New quotes. It's a 2004 calendar. Thing about when it comes to collecting presidential stuff, you can find stuff like this, you know, Clinton and whatnot, and they are they're fun, but they're not valuable because they made millions of them. They understood the collectability of them at the time, and so you got to get kind of a diehard fan. I think the box is probably silly. The Russian doll would be a fun one to keep. And we got another Russian doll. We have that's probably coming across really well. Well, I'll take it apart later. That's one of the Gorbachev or someone right on the front there. It's going to take us back to the 1980s. What else do we want to look at in here? Boy, they just kind of connect on these Russian dolls. There's another Gorbachev. It has Soviet leader nesting dolls. So it has all of them back to Khrushchev, Gorbachev, Stalin, Lenin, all made in the USSR. Back when it was known as the USSR. This is a fun thing I should show you. Coming here, it's the Declaration of Independence. I get these things a lot. People will find these in the back of drawers or in a cabinet, or they'll clean out Grandpa's house and they have one. You'll find on this kind of paper, you'll find not only the Declaration of Independence, you'll find wanted posters of Billy the Kid, you'll find the Bill of Rights, you'll find all kinds of documents, and it's on this paper that they've waxed and kind of made look like it's really old. And everyone kind of gets excited, oh God, it's really great. And then sometimes we'll frame them and it makes them look even more valuable. They're really not worth anything. They're just kind of a novelty. You'd buy them at like Colonial Williamsburg or other tourist places that had to do with the government and patriotism. And so if you find one, it wouldn't be uncommon for you to find that. Don't quit your day job just yet. Here's a box. Oh, Ronald Reagan is Howdy Doody. How can you not love that? And then these are all, a lot of stuff were fundraiser type things for different, like this one here's Operation Iraqi Freedom deck of cards. Quotations from Chairman LBJ, because we know the socialist movement that he was pushing is obviously communist. And here are, oh, Winston Churchill from the Times, September 20th, 1940. Churchill and Sir Kingsley Wood yesterday visited an area in southwest London to see the damage done during the raid of Wednesday night. Shows the Prime Minister and Sir Kingsley on the tour of inspection. So during the Battle of Britain, this would have been a photograph that was taken back then in 1940 with the leader. And they were at the darkest hour. Here's another one. And this is how things have changed. And I'm reading what's said here, so don't kill me. Will Japs accept their terms? The Potsdam Conference terms of old Japan's unconditional surrender as it laid down by the latest Big Three, Prime Minister Adelaide, President Truman, and Premier Stalin, were subject August 10th of the Jap News Agency broadcast saying Japan was ready to accept if the Emperor Hirohito could retain his prerogatives. So it's an unpublished picture of the Big Three there. Anyway, just reading that would get my kids mad at me. And then odds and ends that are left in here. Let's see, Chairman Malrag. The American aspects of the assassination of Leon Trotsky in the hearings. That's what put you to sleep. 34th anniversary Socialist Revolution. This might be kind of fun. I might read this after we're all done here. A Long Wits Trail, the humor and wisdom of Ronald Reagan. Okay. He actually told really good jokes. He was such a nice man, or he seemed like such a, didn't agree with him politically, but I liked the way he talked. And then here's a photo of someone's family. Probably somebody famous, they just didn't mark down there who it was. And then this is something that you'll find come out of a lot of estates that you'll find the actual speeches of Roosevelt and Kennedy. You'll also find other recordings by Kennedy and whatnot. And they're not uncommon to find. They're kind of fun to have and frame and collect, but they're not particularly valuable. And then this is a parody, The First Family. And it will be a parody album. Again, not particularly funny because we don't know what the jokes mean this many years later. Anyway, that's about what's in this box. So kind of some fun stuff and kind of some corny stuff. Oh, forgot this one. Almost lost the jewelry. Medal of Merit. Medal of Merit's been given to you by Ronald Reagan. In case you're feeling bad about yourself, you can have a Medal of Merit. Anyway, fun stuff. Some of it's just going to probably go for a couple of bucks and maybe a few up to $100. Nothing super valuable in this box. Anyway, that's kind of what we do. That was box number 94, so I'll let you know what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the day. I have a bunch more to go through, but a lot of this will be put up online on our website, GaryGermer.com, on our Shopify store. And anyway, if I find anything really wonderful, we'll do another quick video. Thanks for watching. Oh, one last thing in the bottom of the last box. I am not a crook.